Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to our webinar where we're going to be talking about setting up a life of yes for some of your loved ones who happen to be under 18. So, minor accounts is what we're going to be talking about today. This has been something that a lot of our clients have asked us about to go over. There's a lot of information, especially with the so called Trump accounts that are coming out this year. A lot of people have had questions on these, and we thought it would be a good topic just to get some information out there, share it with our clients so that you're informed on some of the options that you have and how each of these specific accounts work. Scott Grover, who's our lead service advisor, is going to be joining me today and going over each of these different types of topics. But we're really excited to share this information with you. I use quite a few of these. I have a bunch of nieces and nephews, and I like to say that I have never bought them a physical gift, but I definitely contribute money into their accounts for them. I even make it kind of fun where, on Halloween, I even give them their candy, which is Hershey stock. And I kind of play with that and give them different theme stocks throughout the year. So it'll be really exciting when they turn 18 and they have a chunk of money from Uncle Austin. But without further ado, I'll turn the time over to Scott, and he's going to go through some specifics with these accounts. And then we do have quite a few people joining us today. So as you are here and listening, we do have the mics off just because we have such a big crowd, but use the chat feature or the Q&A feature if you do have any questions. Just type your question there. I'll read those and then I'll get them to Scott and he can answer them out loud. So I'll turn the time over to Scott and we will go through a presentation that we've made. Hope you enjoy.
Great. Thanks, Austin. Appreciate that introduction. Like Austin said, my name is Scott Grover, and I am the lead service advisor at Choules Financial. One of the things I get asked a lot when I visit with clients and we've got their Life of Yes set up and going is, now that my Life of Yes is set up, how do I do this for my loved ones, in particular my grandkids and kids that are under 18? So that's what we're going to talk about today. I think all of us can agree that if we had had a head start and money in the markets before we were grown adults, we would be so much further ahead. And that's the whole point of these accounts, is to make sure that we can give our kids, grandkids, and loved ones a little bit of a head start. Obviously, they are growing up in a different world than we've all grown up in. So I believe this is such a beautiful way to help them with all of that, getting a leg up on inflation and the cost of living. We want to be brokers of hope. We always talk about that, is we don't just put together plans, but we are brokers of hope. We want to give hope to people and help them live their life of yes. So when I go over these accounts, a lot of clients will ask me, which one should I do? And each account's going to have different benefits. So when I go through these, I'm going to walk you through what they are, what the benefits are, and where they're best used. The first one I want to go over is the UTMA account. This is one of my favorite ones, primarily because it has a lot of flexibility. This is an account that has the ability to invest in about anything in the market. It's got a guardian on the account with the child or the minor as the owner of the account. And what that means is when they turn 18 or 21, depending on the state they live in, all the money that's been accruing in that account is now 100% theirs, and they can use it for weddings, they can use it to buy a car, they can use it to pay for school if they want. They can use it to start a business, to buy a home. We all know that homes are very expensive. They're probably not going to be any cheaper in the future. So this account gives them that flexibility. The one thing to be aware of on these accounts is when they turn 18, the cost basis or the amount that was contributed to the account is never taxed, but all the gains are going to be taxed at the child or minor's tax rate. Typically, when they're 18 or 21, they're in a favorable tax rate, so it's still advantageous. So this is a great account if you want to gift money to a child or grandchild, or a niece or nephew, whatever the minor's relationship is to you, and you want them to be able to use it for a lot of different purposes. I really like this one. Sometimes we don't know if they're going to go to college. We don't want to put that pressure on them. We don't know if they're going to want it for long term. So this is a great account for helping them get a leg up on not just their education, but on other areas of their lives. And any of you who have been through having a wedding for a child knows that those aren't cheap typically. So there's a lot of great benefits to this account. The next one I want to talk about are the 529 accounts. 529 is just the code for an education plan, and they're tax advantaged accounts that allow contributions to go into the child's name. In this instance, the child is the beneficiary, and the guardian or owner of the account, the adult, is the owner of the account. So that's a big distinguishment between this one and the UTMAs we just talked about. And how they work is the money goes in, there's no contribution that's tax deductible. However, the money going out is tax-free if it's used for higher education. It can also be used for college books. It can be used for room and board. It can be used for meal plans. And a lot of people ask me, well, college is so expensive. Why would I ever do this? I totally get that, and I agree with that. However, if you can help your child or the minor pay for even a year of school or books, that's just a little bit less debt that they have to take on that they'll have to pay throughout their adult years. So a great plan. One of the great things I like about this plan that's recently changed is if there are unused funds or the child decides not to use it for college, the money can be rolled over into a Roth IRA. The amount that gets rolled over needs to be the contribution limits for the year. So you can't do the full amount if it's over the current year contribution limit. However, you can shift it over to the Roth IRA bit by bit until it's all over. There's some rules around that. $35,000 is the limit on that to go to a Roth. But great account. And there's an exit strategy in case it's not used for higher education. So I really like these. This isn't regarding the 529 account, but if you're looking to pay for child's education, some states offer tax credits or tax deductions. And if you have any questions on those, you can schedule a time to go over that with me, and I can go over that in more detail depending on what your situation looks like. Another strategy that a lot of clients have used that I will recommend is certain universities and educational institutions will allow you to purchase college tuition at today's rates, and that will allow them to go to college when they get to that age and use that credit for that they've already paid. So it's basically getting today's prices for future prices. And we all know college education does go up dramatically. That's been the historical trend anyways. So there's a lot of ways to fund for college. 529 is one of them. Depending on your situation, that's a good one for you to visit with us on, just to make sure that we're being as efficient and effective as possible. All right, the next one. This is a fun one because everyone asks about this. It's kind of the hot topic of the day. They are the Trump accounts. They're also called Section 530A accounts. There's a lot of ambiguity around these still because there's some rules and regulations being set up still. It's not finalized. But basically what they are they are accounts to help newborns that have been born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028 to get a head start in life. And what happens is the idea on it is you open up an account, the government will automatically deposit $1,000 if they qualify, and then you can contribute up to $5,000 per year in the account. And at 18 or 21, depending on the state that they live in, they can actually, I think this one's just 18. I'll double check on that. And this is one of those rules that's kind of up in the air still. But the money is 100% theirs, and they can use it to buy a house, pay for school, similar to a UTMA account. Definitely take advantage of this if you have a child or grandchild that's been born between those, because that's free money. And one of the ways to get in line for those is by going to trumpaccounts.gov, and it'll walk you through how to set those up. Right now, you'll fill out what's called a Form 4547, which is obviously the presidential number for Trump, and that form will earn you a place in line. And then on July 1st or July 4th, they're going to roll out the Trump account. So we'll know more on that. We're keeping an eye on it as things change and evolve. but that is an awesome way to get your children or grandchildren set up. It's a great gift if they've been born within that time frame. If you want more information on that, go to that website I just mentioned, trumpaccounts.gov, or you can also schedule a time to go over them with us. And the last one, this is one of my personal favorites because we deal with a lot of clients that are in their retirement years or approaching their retirement years, and these are Guardian Roth IRAs. Very powerful. They don't have, we have a lot of ways that you can fund these, but how they work is the child, as long as they have earned income, can contribute the amount of income they earned for the year into their Guardian Roth IRA. So if the child earned $4,000 for the year, $4,000 can go into the child's Guardian Roth IRA. And on this one, there's a guardian on the account and the child is the owner, similar to the UTMA accounts, depending on the state. Once the child reaches 18 or 21, the account is 100% theirs. And the benefits on this is they get an extra 18 years or I guess as soon as they start earning income. So if they're babysitting or even mowing the lawn, as soon as they do any kind of chores, they can contribute into this account and they have a lot of extra time for it to grow tax free. So if somebody has a child or grandchild that's 9 years old, or 9.5, they potentially have 50 years of tax-free growth until they can access the funds. Now, there's some rules that they can access the funds before they're 59 and a half, but it has to be the cost basis and the funds have to have been in the account for at least 5 years. The other great thing about this account is it creates long-term saving habits, and it will give them a little bit of excitement and experience around investing. Uh, all of these accounts will do that. I think just showing children how they can make money and how they can take control of their finances, seeing their faces light up that, oh, I just made some money by being in the market. I didn't even have to do a chore. That's a beautiful thing for them to just conceptualize, and it will help them, as you know, further down the road. If all of us had a Guardian Roth IRA set up when we were 9 years old, I think we would all be super, super stoked today. I think a lot of our retirees would not have to deal with the tax burdens that they deal with. We try to be as tax efficient as we can at Choules Financial. That's one of the 5 worlds that we cover. And with tax rates being historically low, this is another reason to take advantage of these accounts. I personally like these accounts. I do these for my children. They are motivated to go do chores and mow the lawn, and they also love seeing their account grow. So a beautiful way to save money, to set them up for success long term. And as we know, the longer you have to invest, the less you have to save. It takes a lot of the burden of them having to put a lot away during their working years. So that covers the accounts I wanted to talk about with you today. Depending on what you want for your minor or for the minor in your life that you want to help out, will depend on the type of account we want to set up. I am available to schedule a time if you'd like to go over these in specific in your situation. And with that, let's open up the panel for questions, and we will go from there.
Perfect, Scott. Thank you for all that info. Lots of good stuff there on all those different accounts. And again, we've got a few questions coming in so far, but use the Q&A feature if you do have any questions. So type those there, and then I will get them to Scott, and he will answer them. So remember to do that. If you do have any questions, I already have a couple coming in. So Scott, if you're ready, the first question is on the UTMA account, and they're asking, does a UTMA account affect financial aid?
It can. So that's one thing to be cautious about, depending on how much you have in that account may affect your ability to apply for financial aid especially with schooling. So that is something we want to watch. If you're thinking that the child might go to college and they may have a higher income, or the parents may have a high income, that's something that we'll want to monitor. So it can affect that. That's a great question.
Perfect. Thank you, Scott. And then with the UTMA account, this is also for that, they're asking, can you change the beneficiary later?
So, good question. On the UTMA account, you cannot change the beneficiary. So once the account is in the minor's name, the minor is the owner and the beneficiary, and the parents just the adult's just the guardian. Once the account goes just into the child's name at 18 or 21, depending on their state, at that point, the minor, who's now an adult, can assign a beneficiary to the account.
Perfect. The next question looks like it's on the 529 accounts. So they're asking, what happens if the child or the minor does not go to college with those 529 accounts?
I love that question. And that's probably the most asked question on that 529 account. It used to be that you could just transfer the 529 account funds to another beneficiary. So that kind of goes back to that last question. This one does allow you to do that. However, recently there's been some laws passed that allow you to roll it into a Roth IRA. As long as you do the current Roth IRA contribution rollover amount per year up to 35,000, you can transition that money away from the 529. So even if they don't use it for college, there's a great exit strategy or fund money transfer to another child that may use it.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Scott. The next question are this is kind of for all these accounts. It looks like are the contributions tax deductible?
So in short, no, contributions are not tax deductible. But the on the 529 account, the distributions, if they're qualified for higher educations, are tax free.
Okay, so no, you don't get a tax break putting in the money for them, but later on. Okay,
No, but on the 529 accounts, you do get, depending on the state you live in, this is something that we'll check on if you want to know more on your situation. Some states do offer tax credits and tax deductions, but mostly just tax credits. So that would be one of those that we just meet one-on-one and go over.
perfect. The next question is kind of a general question, but in your opinion, if you could pick one of these, one option, which one would you pick?
Whew, that's a tough one. I'll be honest, my least favorite is the 529. Partially because we all want our kids to get educated. However, I feel like those are pigeonholing the use of those funds. My personal favorite are the Guardian Roth IRAs, just for the sake of it's of tax-free growth for the longest period of time, and they still have access to the principal in the account tax-free, or the return of basis, I should say, um, if the account's been held for 5 years or more. I don't like to let the minors know that because the purpose of that account is to use it for retirement and long-term growth. And that tax-free growth is just a massive benefit that they're going to have, even if they put in $25 a month or, a very little amount, they are going to have a very nice Roth IRA by the time they retire, and it's going to be 100% tax-free to them. So Guardian Roth, like I said, that's what I do for my kids. And then I have my own savings that I use and invest for to help them out with that would be in lieu of the UTMA account.
Perfect. That makes sense. This one's kind of a joint question, but someone's asking, can you open more than one type of account per minor or child? And then of them, which one has the best tax benefits?
You can, yep. So you could open up one of each of these if you'd like. The one that has the best tax benefits is going to be that Guardian Roth IRA. It's going to stay tax free for as long as they live, and it's going to have a long time. If someone lives into their 90s, that's 80 plus years of tax free growth that the government will never tax again.
Hmm. And I
So
think,
Guardian, that's another reason why I go back to the Guardian Roth IRA. Best tax deal out of all the accounts.
yeah, and I think that's we give that same advice for anyone, any younger person. The best thing you can do to set yourself up for financial success is to start that account as soon as you can. The first job you have, contribute to your 401k. The first moment you can open that Roth IRA when you're 18, and this is really even getting an even bigger head start on that. That
Absolutely.
set someone up for success. Yeah, you could have a retirement account with tax-free funds available to you, you know, because it's grown that entire time without having to have actually done anything. So that's,
Yeah.
if you're looking for a gift or something to give to someone, that's a huge thing that you can give to them. They'll thank you, when they're
Yeah.
pulling that money out later, when they're living a life of yes as a retiree that you set them up for.
And Austin, that's actually a really good point. One of the best things, gifts that you can, or legacies, or things that you can pass on to um, a child like that in this situation is that long-term growth. And I think, your nieces and nephews, they're going to think, how cool is Uncle Austin, and nice for him to do that. He got us set up on this. And then your long your time here is done, that's going to live on
Hmm.
through your nieces and nephews. So I think that's a really beautiful gift. And it's going back to that saying we've heard before, it's time in the market versus timing the market. You'll
Hmm.
always come out further out ahead if you have longer time in the market. That's just the way the markets work. Time in the market.
Hmm. Exactly. Yeah. All righty. Well, that kind of concludes the questions. If anyone else has anything else, hurry and get that in the Q&A, and we'll get it answered. But any final thoughts, Scott?
No, I just want to, emphasize living that life of yes. It's become contagious with our clients. We love seeing them going out and doing things. And we've noticed that as they're living their life of yes, they want their loved ones and friends and grandchildren and children to live a life of yes as well. So don't keep us a secret. We love helping people embrace whatever their passions are in life. And we like to take the burdens of what if away so that you can go and enjoy your life. That's the whole point of this. It's not what money is, it's what money does. So we want to make sure that you can live that life of yes, and you can pass that on and that same energy on to your kids and grandkids and friends and family. So don't keep us a secret. Austin can attest, we've received a large influx of referrals, and it's been a beautiful thing to see. It's one of the most gratifying things, I think, and I think Austin can agree, is seeing people going out on cruises, going on fishing trips, spending time with their loved ones, being able to say yes to the things they weren't previously able to say yes to. So help us help you. We want you to live that life. It's very enjoyable for us to see. And with that, I appreciate your guys' time. Thanks, Austin.
Yeah.
And
Thank you, Scott. Really,
yeah.
really great info. And watch for these future webinars. We do different topics throughout the year. If you have anything that you'd want us to cover, send in a recommendation. We'll get it on the schedule. Thank you,
Great.
Scott. Thanks everyone for joining.
Thanks.